Hello, welcome back to Vlogmas. Today we have a Q&A. This is one of the video topics that my bibliothecary supporters voted on. So every month my bibliothecary supporters get to vote in a poll for a video topic that I'll do, and this is one of them that won for Vlogmas. They got to vote on 6 of them for this Vlogmas, so that's half. So if you want to control my content in that way, every month, go ahead and check out the bibliothecary. It is linked on the screen. Also, there's lots of other cool stuff that we do. If you haven't heard me talking about it all Vlogmas, just check it out. It's a great way to support creators. So I asked you guys on Instagram for some questions, and I'm just gonna go through all of them. There's a mix of book, life stuff, all of it. So I decided not to filter it out this time and just go for it. So let's go. What are your current all-time favorite books? I'm actually gonna do a video on this of my top like 40 or 50 favorite books of all time as of now, probably in January, February. That's inspired by Mara from Books Like Whoa, because she does that apparently like almost every year. And I saw her video on it and I was like, that is genius. So I'm gonna do that. And she doesn't rank them. I can rank a few of them, but most of them I can't rank. So I'm excited about that. Look for that later. Have you watched the Hating Game movie? No, I haven't. I didn't even know it was out. Are you a tea or coffee person? Not really either, but if I had to choose, like if someone's like, you have to drink a hot drink every day, it would be tea, just because the coffee and my anxiety medicine in my body would probably just be fighting, and it's like not super fun. I used to be a coffee person though. I used to drink a lot of coffee in college, and I do miss it. But I just don't think it's that like good for my system. What is a couple from a book series that should not have been canon? No Bronze Horseman. Man, I could really go for some controversial ones here. There's a lot of like problematic books or like couples that I've hated over the years. I've done ranking all the couples that I've read about each year for the last, what, like 5 years. So go and watch all of my favorite and least favorite couples of the year and you will get a lot of answers to this. But the ones that sort of like stick out that I didn't just delete from my brain after I read them, besides The Bronze Horseman and Beautiful Disaster, my two like least favorite books of all time, I'm gonna say I still don't like Mal and Alina. They grew on me with the show, and the show feels different than the books. I still would have preferred her being with Nikolai, not gonna lie. And another one is a series that I didn't finish, but do I want to start this fight? Okay, I'm just gonna say it. One of the reasons I did not continue with Throne of Glass, not the only reason, but one of them, is that I couldn't handle that she was switching up romances again, and I loved Kale, like, so much. And I know she, like, ruins his character and whatever, so, like, you know, Aline, is that her name? Selena, but like turns into Aline, I'm pretty sure. Is that, man, I spent a long time since I read those books. But her and Rowan, I know there's a lot of fans. I don't know enough, but I just, I didn't want that. Author you had the most issues with and why? I feel like The Bronze Horseman was Polina Simons and Jamie McGuire are some of the ones that I don't like the most, because they just write toxic, horrible couples and romanticize them, and it's gross. There's a number of authors that I just like generally don't like their attitude. Like, I don't follow basically any authors on Twitter anymore because I don't like a lot of what they do on their platforms. Like, it just annoys me. Obviously J.K. Rowling being a raging TERF is like, please someone take her Twitter away and ban her. Like, I'm so sick of it. There's not many authors that I'm on like a hate campaign against, you know? I'm just like, all right, you suck, I'm not gonna read your books. So I don't let them have real estate in my brain, you know? I try to be just like, you're not gonna take my energy, you little vampire. How do you like BookTok in comparison to YouTube? Is there anything about it you like more? Interesting that you should mention that. BookTok's been really fun. So I love both platforms. I've said this a number of places, I am not leaving YouTube for BookTok. No, they both serve different purposes. YouTube is long form content. You can have much longer discussions on YouTube and say a lot more and not have to worry about like editing everything down to like maximum 3 minutes. That's really nice. I've been here the longest. I have a very established community here. And there is still the problem of reading a bunch of the same books, but there's still, I just feel like BookTube's a little bit more like with it. BookTok is still reading a lot of books that were popular on BookTube like 5 years ago. I did a recent video about that. I will link that on screen. So there's a little bit of that. However, I think the finding of creators is so much easier on TikTok than it is on YouTube. Trying to sort through and find people from recommendations or whatever is just a beast on YouTube. Like, it's just, they don't make it easy. And on TikTok, the algorithm is so good that not only the people you follow are like you know, easy to find, just like you would for a subscription. But like the For You page is so good. So even if you don't follow somebody, you'll still see like the kind of content you want to see from, it's easy to discover new people. So I like that. I like the short form content because there's some videos that I make over there that I couldn't make over here because it's like I might only have 1 or 2 recommendations, but I would like to make a video about it, but like that's not enough for a video over here, you know, so I can kind of do it over there. I also like being able to respond to comments with a video. That's really nice for like continuing the conversation, stitching someone else's video and continuing the conversation, or if someone, honestly, if someone does something shitty in the comments, it's really nice to be able to respond with like a full video response to them, like right after it happens. The other thing, it's really nice to like answer questions with a video like right on the platform. So yeah, I think that it's kind of fun too because it almost feels like fresh space, new blood, new book blood. And like I said, the ability to find people is so much more invigorating, but I think TikTok and YouTube are very complementary to each other. And I feel like my TikTok content is gonna also like fuel my BookTube content because I'll be seeing different books, because different platforms do like different books, even though there are some older ones that TikTok is promoting that I'm like, y'all, we've been doing this. But you know, there's still a little bit of variety there, which will then inspire more content here. So if anything, BookTok has been helping me feel more like connected to the community again, because it was so hard to connect with the community on YouTube because YouTube makes it so hard to do that. And TikTok doesn't. And that's what's nice about it. If you're not following me there, it's thoughtsontomes_. If you could take a flight in first class, what would be the thing you'd be most excited about? The leg room. I had a flight a few months ago, or like last month, whatever, where I was sitting in the very front of the plane because I was flying alone. So I was in the very first row of just like a normal, everything was economy, there was no first class. And my leg room, I had so much because I was in the very first row. It was so nice. So I think the leg room, and possibly be able to like, being able to lay down, like they have little beds in first class sometimes. I can't imagine. I've never like needed or wanted to fly first class really, because I've only ever taken like, I think the longest flight I've ever taken in the United States has maybe been like 4 hours. I've took some longer than that, I think, when I was a kid, maybe, but like in recent memory, like 4 hours. So it's like, I really don't like need it. But yeah, especially if I was doing like an international flight first class, that would be nice. That'd be nice. Are you planning any rituals or similar for Yule/winter solstice? I don't know. My witchy game has not been completely on point lately. And that's fine. Like there's seasons of it. Like it was really up again in the like fall, and then like the sort of weather has been hitting me like really funky. And so I haven't really been as into it. So I keep up with my usual like stuff around different moon phases and whatever, and like keeping my house clean. But I think that is something that I want to do more in 2022. Some more in-depth stuff with the witchy stuff. I will probably do a simmer pot. I am gonna be at my parents' house for like Christmas, like, you know, actual Christmas Eve, Christmas, and the day after. But Yule and solstice extends a bit longer, so I'm probably gonna do like maybe a simmer pot on the actual solstice. Maybe do like a tarot reading. It's so hard, like Yule and like solstice and Christmas and New Year's is like all around similar times, and then there's also the moon phases, and like there's just a lot that you could potentially do that I get a bit overwhelmed. It'd be cool if this time next year I had like witchy friends and we could do stuff like as a circle or something, you know? I feel like that would be even more motivating if I had that, like a little community that's more local. What do you predict your reading taste / bookshelves will look like in 5 to 10 years? I think largely the same. I think I'm pretty solidified in my reading taste. I think it's gonna continue to be adult sci-fi and fantasy mostly. I think as the years go on, I will be reading less and less YA. Will I be reading no YA? No. I will still be reading some, but the last few years it's been like 75% adult, 25% YA max, and I think that's what's going to continue, and I will continue to have physical bookshelves that are like mostly fantasy and sci-fi. I would like there to be like a bit more sci-fi. I need to be a little bit more intentional about that. I would like there to be a bit more sci-fi. That would be good. I want to hear your thoughts on Iron Widow if you're interested and would read it. I am planning to read that book. Did I ask for that one for Christmas? There's still time. I might. But that one, I might get it from a bookstore. That one is on my radar and has been. That's one that like TikTok is talking about like way more. I'm sure BookTube is too, but that's one I've seen much more over there. I heard that there's like a mech run by polyamorous love, kind of. And that has me. So I am very interested in that book. How are your plant babies doing? Like, they're fine. They haven't, like, some of them have died. A number of them have died. Maybe like 10 since I moved in here. The conditions haven't been like super ideal, and then I've gotten kind of lazy with them because the conditions aren't super ideal and they're like not flourishing. I do feel like I'm gonna try something in the greenhouse that I have, because there's a continuing pest problem that's been for over a year. And I'm actually thinking about getting beneficial insects to put in there, and to eat the bad bugs. And then there's been a couple plants that are like dying in there that I'm actually gonna take out. But my Hoyas are doing extremely well in there. I have 2 Hoyas and both of them are flowering and have been flowering since I put them in there constantly. And it's hard to get a Hoya to flower. So those are doing really well. And then a lot of the rest of them are just kind of like existing. Yeah, I have recently gotten a humidifier, which actually you might be seeing in the background of this. If you see steam, it's the humidifier. But that might be helping too, because I think the dryness in here has not helped. Added in some lights and stuff, but like it hasn't been as fun of an experience with the plants as it was previously, because I just haven't had super ideal conditions. They flourished really well in my room at my parents' house when I was there. And so it's sad to see me come here, even with grow lights, and have them like not be as happy. So I don't want to move from this apartment. I want to stay here for like at least a few years. Ideally, please don't raise the rent. I'm like very paranoid that they're going to do that, because I got a COVID deal last year. So I'm worried that they're going to be like, and let's hike it up by $1,000. And I'm like, no. But if I had to, I would try to prioritize somewhere for the plants. I thought this place was going to be good, but as I've talked about before, this window is not facing the best direction, but on top of that, there's actually UV block on the windows, which I didn't know until after I moved in, so they don't get a lot of light, even though they're right in front of windows, and it makes me sad. So I only really bought like 2 plants this summer, which is saying something, because usually I buy like 10. Something you want to see more of in adult fantasy, and then something you want to see less of. It's not like we're wanting for this, because I think this is pretty common, but like I really like fantasy that has own world mythology. I just dig it. I like it a lot. I would like to see, if we're gonna have sort of medieval royal core fantasy, give me some more Princess in the Guard, or like Royal in the Guard romances. Give me more of that in fantasy, please. Yeah, there's nothing really that I feel like is lacking. If anything, like I just haven't found it yet, you know? I think like the fantasy genre is doing like so well lately, and I really love it. Something I want to see less of, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of okay with all of it, because I think fantasy has blown up so much and has gotten so popular that like, even if there's things that I don't like in fantasy, and there are, like there's things that I would rather not see, there's most of it I can avoid. And I think that it's okay to, well, some of it's not okay to be out there, but like most of it, even if it's like a difference in stuff that I don't like it should still be out there. I just don't like that trope or whatever. The exception to this that I just thought of as I was saying that was like, can we stop with the sexual assault in like adult fantasy books? But I don't tend to see that a lot. Like I know that that's a complaint other people have had, but I don't read a lot of male authors. I read like a select few, and I don't see a lot of rape in their books. Or like any at all. So I don't tend to see it, but I know it's a thing. But I read mostly women, so I don't really encounter it that much. But yeah, that can go. I would like to see less of that, even though I don't technically see it. But yeah, everything else, like there's so many different genres as far as like grimdark, own world, you know, based on different mythologies and folklores, not just the same European mythologies. Like all of that is out there, so, and there's all different kinds of, you know, like fantasy subgenres that have all gained popularity. So yeah, there's nothing that really sticks out that I'm like, get rid of this, because it's like, I'll just either avoid it, and there's so much more to choose from. Are the authors on your shelves all only from the US, or are they from different countries? They're from different countries. I would say predominantly it is like US and probably like the UK or like Europe, just because the United States does dominate publishing, blah, blah, blah. It's harder to necessarily, like, unless you're like really searching for it, to go out and like find stuff from authors that are not being pushed in the United States. I know people are like, what do you mean it's not all about the United States? I'm like, I know it's not. However, like if you go into a bookstore in the United States, you're going to mostly find American authors or like British authors that like our publishing is pushing, you know, because we do dominate the publishing industry. That's just the way that it is. So I would say there's a mix, and there's a lot of people that are from like different backgrounds. I'm looking at my TBR right now. Different backgrounds and stuff, even if they weren't born in another country, like they're, you know, ancestrally from another country or whatever. So yeah, I would say there's a mix, but it's gonna be US dominated because the United States dominates publishing. How long do your nails last? 2 to 3 weeks, and they're press-ons. But yeah, sometimes one will like pop off and I will have to re-glue it down, but then it'll last the rest of the time. So yeah, I'm actually gonna take these off tonight and put on different Christmas ones. Have you ever played Final Fantasy 12? I think you'd love it. Funny you say that. Final Fantasy 12 was the first Final Fantasy game I ever played. I know, isn't that crazy? And then I went back and played 7. Did I play 11? No. And then I played 13. I haven't played 10. I haven't played 8. I haven't played the MMO. 14. I've played 15 but haven't finished it, and I want them to make a new one. What are your Christmas plans? I'm just gonna go home with my immediate family. Christmas is a very like immediate family thing for me, so I'll go home on Christmas Eve, spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and the day after Christmas because that's my dad's birthday with them, and then come home to back here. So yeah, very low key. We do like wake up whenever we kind of want to. Usually we have cinnamon rolls. Usually we do presents first, and then we'll make like a big dinner. Like usually it's like ham, sweet potato casserole, some kind of vegetable, green bean casserole because that doesn't really count as a vegetable. My mom makes this ambrosia salad that's like strawberries, cherries, it's like cherry pie filling, Cool Whip, marshmallows. It's so fucking good. She's made it since I was a kid. Rolls. Sometimes I'll make like a cheese board. In the past, I've also made like a pie. I do a lot of the cooking. My uncle and I will do like the cooking on Christmas the last handful of years. So yeah, it's all like the good food. That's what's so nice about having it just my immediate family. Like we choose the food we want and it's always bomb. And then like I'll have leftovers for like 2 days. How have you been liking press-on nails? I love them. I do not plan on going back to the salon anytime soon because one, this is so much cheaper. These were $30. This would be like 75 bucks in a salon. They stay on the full time and I get the design I want, goddammit, and that's why I switched. Which book series would you want to be adapted into a TV show? I think a lot of them would be kind of fun as a TV show. I think The Locked Tomb would be fucking wild. Honestly, I don't know what like could really do it justice because it's like so weird that would almost probably end up on like Sci-Fi Network and that would be like bad. But that would be like wild. I think that'd be kind of fun. The 5th season or the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin would be really cool. I think that could be done super well. I also wouldn't mind seeing like the original Mistborn trilogy or like the Lies of Locke Lamora. I've said that one before when people have asked this question. The Lies of Locke Lamora would be really fun, like on HBO or something. Also the Fury Warren series by Claire Legrand I think would be super cool and dark. Could make like a good CW show, I kind of feel like. Red Rising might be fun too. Robin Hobb. There's a lot that could really be good like TV shows, miniseries, and I think over the years, the next like 10 years or so, we're gonna get a lot because all of these series, you know, Game of Thrones started it, and then like, you know, now we have the Grisha show, now we have Wheel of Time, we're gonna have the new Lord of the Rings show. Like there's just a lot of potential there that I think they're gonna turn out even more of them over the years. I think we could be friends. Is that creepy? No! It's likely a parasocial relationship. However, there are plenty of creators that I thought we could be friends and now we are. So yeah, I think that it's not really that creepy because I act the way that I act like in person on this. So there's not like a facade or anything. So you're getting a pretty good idea if we'd be friends. So how is the queer scene in Chicago treating you? It's like not. I haven't like gone out and done anything in like Boys Town or even like, I mean, I go to Andersonville sometimes, which used to be known as Girls Town, but now all the like, you know, cis male gays have moved in. It used to be a very lesbian area, and now it's not as much. They've been crowded out. But I haven't really like done any of that because I've been seeing people more now. I've been like hanging out with friends more, even though we're still very much in a pandemic. But I don't really feel comfortable going to like clubs, crowded bars. You know, we didn't have a Pride this year, like, so I haven't really had the opportunity to like try stuff out here as far as like queer community spaces, which is a bummer. Hopefully by like next summer. I was really hoping by this winter, but what would you recommend for a reading slump that's not YA? It really depends on like the genre that you like. Finding something fast-paced. So it's gonna, yeah. I think romance books are good for this if you like romance, because they're just like so easy to get through, like they can kind of break out of a slump. But really, like any genre you can have this. Sci-fi books, if you wanted like a fast-paced sci-fi, I would say the Red Rising series is like, you don't want to put it down, so like that can help with a slump. Something like an urban fantasy series if you like fantasy, but trying urban fantasy like the Sixth World series, or like the previously mentioned Anita Blake series by Laurel K. Hamilton, or any of those, because I just think urban fantasies are like really quick reads. But then fantasy books that are more quick, I mean, I do feel urban fantasy is like a really good call. But like the Mistborn second series, the second, it's not a trilogy, I think it's like a quartet or something, but like those are kind of like short and fast paced. Naomi Novik books tend to be kind of like faster paced, I think. So yeah, finding something in a genre you like that is going to be like quick to read. Favorite movie of all time? I'm looking at my movies, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. Part of me kind of wants to say The Holiday, with like Jude Law and Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz and Jack Black. I think that is my favorite like holiday movie of all time. It's just like fresh on my mind. Maybe like my favorite movie, I haven't watched this in so long though, so can I really say it's my favorite? But like Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, or like the first Pirates of the Caribbean. I feel so affectionate for those. Like they just hold like a special place. I also like Titanic. You know, like there's so many movies that like, if they're on TV, I will sit and watch them, even though I've watched them a million times. But are they favorites? I'm not. And then there's like a bunch of the Marvel movies, but those almost feel like you can't have them as a favorite when they're like, as like a separate thing. I'm not the biggest like movie person, you know? It's not like my most favorite media. It used to be more so than it is these days. I know I'm probably like leaving out other movies that I just haven't seen in a while, so they're not like sitting high in my feelings. Apple Crisp or Apple Pie? I would say Apple Crisp. And then Mass Effect or Dragon Age? Mass Effect. I have a running theory that is yet to be disproven that whatever game you play first from BioWare between Mass Effect and Dragon Age, that's going to be your favorite going forward, because the nostalgia is so strong. Someone will probably comment and say the opposite, but like generally speaking, that is what I have found. I think I even did a poll about that like years ago on Twitter, and most people answered that way. But yeah, Mass Effect was the first one that I played from BioWare, so it sits the highest in my feelings. Top 2 favorite authors. I don't like having like top 2. I would say my favorite author of all time is Erin Morgenstern. I used to say Leigh Bardugo was my favorite, like second favorite, and she probably still is. But she's on thin ice. I haven't loved everything by her, and I want her to get out of the Grishaverse. If you guys ask me about how I feel about the new graphic novel, I want her to stop. So I think it would be like second, would either be like N.K. Jemisin, possibly Susan Dennard, Catherine Arden, like, I don't know. Like, I know number 1 definitively, and then everybody else, like, I can give you a top 10. But like, I can't rank them necessarily. Like Becky Chambers is up there, like, I don't know, I only know number 1. What's your typical reading routine? I don't necessarily have a routine, but I try to read 15 minutes every day minimum from a physical book that I'm reading, and then I'll also read a Kindle book before bed, and that's usually a romance book. My physical book is usually a fantasy or a sci-fi. And I usually read after work. After I get stuff done, sort of like after dinner and stuff. That's when I read the most. I will also read on the weekends during downtime. But yeah, that's kind of like my routine. I don't have anything super strict about it. What book would you recommend for a tarot beginner? There's actually not, I haven't read any that I'm like this. There is, what is it called? 78 Degrees of Wisdom is like the definitive, and I actually want to read that book, but I haven't yet, so I can't personally recommend it, but that's the one that everyone kind of recommends. For beginners, I actually tend to think less of books and more like get a deck. Most decks come with a guidebook, but there's also a lot of online resources, and do like 1 card pulls every day to like learn the cards, basically. That's like the best, and then dipping into a book that has like more in-depth stuff about it. But I think starting with a book is probably going to be more overwhelming than anything else. I'd love to hear more about your witchcraft journey. I talk about that a lot more on my other channel, so that's linked down below. There's also going to be Vlogmas videos there. There already might be some posted, honestly. But if you want all the Vlogmas content, you should follow here and that channel, which is linked down below, because I do a lot of witchy content over there. But anything that's not bookish related, I post over there. So my 2021 media and review is going to be over there. I have an apartment tour that's going to be over there. I think my Chicago like Christmas vlog will be over there. Anything and not book issues over there. What type of spell work appeals to you? Would you consider doing now or in the future? I like candle magic a lot. I want to start doing ancestral work. Also, certain things about chaos magic appeal to me. But yeah, I like any magic that is more centered on you and protection. I don't like anything that tries to like super influence other people, at least at this point in my life. Glasses or contacts? I mean, I wear both. I love glasses for when I don't want to do anything and it rests my eyes, because my eyes are semi-allergic to my contact lenses. Sucks. But I like contacts for this. And when I go out and stuff, like how I feel like I look is with contacts in. And also in the winter, it's easier to wear contacts because then your glasses don't fog up all the time, because that sucks. Best TV show you watched in 2021? I think it's gonna be a two-way tie. I'm not done with it yet, but between Arcane, I have 2 more episodes left that I'm probably gonna finish tonight when I film this video, and WandaVision. Those are my 2 faves for the year. Have you watched the Dune movie yet? And if so, what did you think? I have not watched it yet. I think I got just like really burnt out on Dune because we read the book and I was the only one, I think, in my group that finished it. Rude. And then we did the live show and I just was like, I don't want to engage with this again right now. So will I watch it before the end of the year? I don't know. I kind of want to, just to be like done with Dune. I'm gonna continue to watch the movies, I think. I mean, I can't say I haven't watched it yet, but like that's the plan. But I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to. What is a good starter plant that's also cat friendly? I want to have a plant in my room. Peperomias are non-toxic, and there's like a bunch of different varieties. So like a Peperomia Frost or like Peperomia Hope. Those are all non-toxic. Also, I'm pretty sure Hoyas are non-toxic, and there's a ton of those. Any books that inspire you to this day? Like The Night Circus. I don't know. A lot of my favorites, I continue to just be like really like, like moved by. I don't know if they necessarily inspire me, because like what are they gonna inspire me to do? Love fantasy. You know, it's not like I read like a ton of nonfiction that like inspires me, but yeah, most of my favorites stick with me. If you could get another pet, would you get a cat or a dog? It's a really hard question, but probably a cat, even though another animal would drive me bonkers. But 3 cats would be a lot, and I've had 3 cats before, and it is a lot. My favorite combination is 2 cats and a dog. Like, that's what I have now, that's what I will probably have for the rest of my life. But 2 dogs seems like a lot. As much as I like love dogs, like she's already like a lot, and if there's like another one feeding on her energy or her feeding on its energy, like that's just a lot. Where like cats, you can just like add cats. But I don't want any more right now. I want just these babies, because they're very good. She just like rolled onto her little back, showing her belly. Do I get tempted every time I see an animal that needs to be adopted? Absolutely. If you could be any book character, who and why? Oh, I don't really want to. I tell people this all the time. People are like, what world do you want to live in? Like, what fantasy world? Or like, what character? I was like, I don't want to. I would probably die. Yeah, like I'm looking at my shelves, like I don't want any of their lives. I don't know, as cool as like everyone's powers and stuff are, their lives are dangerous. I would probably die, and I don't really want any of those. So if we're being completely honest, it would probably be like a character from a romance novel. Like Danny Brown. Like, I would love Danny Brown's life. Are you kidding me? Danny Brown is take a hint, Danny Brown is in a fake dating scenario with a really hot rugby player who's a security guard at her building, because she's is she a teacher or like a professor, or is she like a PhD like candidate or something? I don't know. And she's a bisexual witch, which like same. So I just, her, and then she has this guy that's like obsessed with her, and like they're fake dating, and he's like super cute and like a rugby player. Yeah, that life. Favorite animal? Big cats. Like tigers, probably. Anything with really big peats. I love big cats so much. They're my favorite. So yeah, any big cat. I also really like foxes. I like big cats, foxes, and owls. Those are my 3 favorites. Because they're all cool. I dig them. And they're all like either like nocturnal or the ones that are active around like dawn and dusk, and I feel like that's like my vibe. What's a book ending you want to rewrite? I haven't been like deeply upset by an ending in a while. Maybe the end of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, because it ends like in a non-conclusive way, which I don't really mind a bittersweet ending, but I think she's gonna like branch off of that at some point, and I want her to like get to that. The end of Ruin and Rising would change that. But yeah, most things, again, I get rid of them in my brain. I'm like, I'm not gonna let this make me mad over and over again. The one fictional male character you wish was real. No. Again, like, if these characters were real, they're not gonna be around me at all. Like, I'm not, you know, so it would be more, again, like romance book boyfriends. Because any of these guys on my fantasy shelf, I'm looking back and I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool if some of these people were real, but like, I'm not gonna see him. Like, Nikolai. I'm not gonna associate with him, you know, like any of the Fae and the like whatever, and the winter gods. I'm not seeing them. I know that's not the point of this question and I'm sucking all the fun out of it, but like, I can't think of stuff that way anymore. Like, I'm losing that ability in my brain because I'm just like, I'm not gonna see that guy. If he's hot and he's around, I'm just gonna be like, damn it, I have to follow him on Instagram or something? I don't wanna do that. And this is the last question. Any fan cast for that ACOTAR TV series? No, because I'm not that invested. I've seen some people post fan cast and I'm like, cool. But I'm not, like, I've said this before, I don't tend to picture characters anyway when I'm reading. So like, as long as I see the casting and I'm like, that works, it's fine. So I don't tend to have many complaints about castings anyway, because I'm not super invested in like, here's who I want or here's what I pictured. And what is on your bookish Christmas wish list? A lot of books that I mentioned in my Goodreads. Yes, I said like the books from the Goodreads Choice Awards that I wanted to read. There's a bunch of books from that, a bunch of fantasy books, a number of books I've already gotten. Should I spoil you guys? No, I think I'm gonna do a haul at the end of the month. But continuations of series that I've already started but just didn't have the last books. New series that I want to start. But a lot of the highly buzzed about, well-regarded from people that I trust fantasy novels that I hadn't gotten into. And sci-fi. So yeah, that's mostly on my Christmas wish list. I hope I get a lot of them because I'm like so excited about a lot of those books. And the books that are on my shelf, like all of my, I'm pointing at my new TBR shelf. If you didn't see it, I put it on TikTok. But yeah, I have like a small little TBR shelf now because this was getting just too overwhelmed and I needed room for my like read books. So I have this, it's super cute. I'm excited for a lot of those books and I've narrowed it down again. I do my little occasional culling of the TBR shelf and I've gotten it down to stuff that I'm excited about again. So everything I'm looking at, I'm like, yeah, I want to read you. So pretty pumped. And then all the books again I'm asking for Christmas are like high up there as well. So it's really going to be overwhelming if I get a bunch of those books to be like, what do I read first? Because there's so much, but I want to remain focused and try to read as many 5-star books as possible next year. I really want that to happen. I wish that for you and for me for next year. So those are all the questions for this Q&A. Thank you to anyone that sent me a question. I appreciate you. Thank you all for watching and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.